President Prabowo Subianto's pointed question. A regulation from where? At Danantara's first anniversary in March 2026, sliced through the usual ceremony and left the room in a momentary hush. It wasn't just a rhetorical flourish. It was a direct challenge to the status quo, a demand for clarity in a system that too often hides behind layers of bureaucracy and tradition. Prabowo's tone was unmistakable. He was not satisfied with vague answers or half measures. The president was genuinely baffled by a regulation that allows state auditors to scrutinize the parent BUMNs, Indonesia's state-owned enterprises, while inexplicably blocking them from examining the finances of their subsidiaries. This selective oversight creates confusion not only among officials but also among business leaders who are left wondering about the true intentions behind such a rule. This isn't just a minor technicality or a bureaucratic quirk. It's a glaring loophole that effectively hides a significant portion of Indonesia's state wealth from any meaningful scrutiny. Billions of rupiah can move through these subsidiaries with little to no oversight, making it nearly impossible to track where public money is actually going. How can the state credibly claim responsible management of its assets if its own auditors are prevented from following the money trail into the riskiest and most opaque corners of its enterprises? Without full access, auditors are left piecing together incomplete stories, unable to provide the transparency that the public deserves. This two-tiered system leaves hundreds of Anak-Cucu companies, subsidiaries and subsidiaries, in a legal and regulatory gray area. These entities, often operating at arm's length from their parent companies, are especially vulnerable to inefficiency, mismanagement, and even outright corruption. The lack of oversight creates fertile ground for problems to fester out of sight. Prabowo's public frustration is more than just a personal annoyance. It spotlights a fundamental flaw in the system. Shielding vast state assets from full accountability not only undermines good governance, but also betrays the trust of the Indonesian people, who deserve to know how their nation's wealth is managed and protected. To truly understand the tangled web of today's BUMN challenges, we need to journey back to Indonesia's formative years, when the nation was just finding its footing after independence. The roots of the current state-owned enterprise landscape are deeply embedded in the country's struggle to define itself, both politically and economically. In the aftermath of colonial rule, Indonesia faced a daunting task: rebuilding an economy that had been designed to serve foreign interests, not the needs of its own people. State-owned enterprises, or BUMNs, were not just a matter of ideology or political theory. They were essential tools for survival. These companies stepped in to fill the massive voids left by departing colonial powers, taking over critical industries and services that were vital for the nation's recovery and growth. BUMNs like textile mills, paper factories, and pharmaceutical companies were established with a clear mission: to meet urgent national needs, create jobs, and reduce Indonesia's dependence on costly imports. These enterprises became the backbone of the new economy, producing goods that were once scarce and ensuring that Indonesians could access basic necessities. The state took the lead in sectors considered too crucial to be left to a fragile or underdeveloped private market. The goal was never just profit. It was about national security, social welfare, and building a sense of unity and shared purpose. These companies were seen as instruments of nation-building, designed to uplift society as a whole. At their core, these enterprises embodied the spirit of gotong royong, mutual cooperation, translating this deeply rooted cultural value into economic action. Factories and offices became places where Indonesians worked side by side, united by a common goal of rebuilding their country. But as decades passed, the original mission of these state-owned enterprises began to blur. The number of BUMNs grew, their objectives became less clear, and many drifted away from their founding purpose. Instead of serving the nation, some became mired in inefficiency and lost their way. Today, Prabowo's call for reform is more than just a policy proposal. It's a plea to recapture that original spirit of service, strategic clarity, and national unity that once defined Indonesia's state-owned enterprises. Decades ago, Indonesia's state-owned enterprises, known as BUMNs, were established as focused strategic assets. Their mission was clear: to drive national development, safeguard vital industries, and serve the public good. These organizations were once the pride of the nation, symbols of progress and unity, tightly aligned with Indonesia's broader economic vision. But over time, these focused institutions have morphed into a tangled corporate jungle, sprawling across sectors and regions. What began as a handful of key enterprises has ballooned into a vast, unwieldy network. Parent companies spawned layers of subsidiaries and sub-subsidiaries, each new entity justified as a way to boost agility, foster innovation, or specialize in niche markets. On paper, this seemed like a smart strategy to keep up with a rapidly changing economy. But without strong oversight, this unchecked expansion led to the creation of over 1,000 separate entities, far more than any single ministry or board could effectively supervise. The sheer scale became a challenge in itself. Each new layer added complexity, making it harder to track accountability and performance. Decision-making slowed and bureaucracy flourished. The result is a labyrinth where resources are spread thin, internal competition flourishes, and collaboration is often replaced by rivalry between subsidiaries. Financial transparency suffers as well. With so many entities, true financial performance is obscured behind layers of intercompany transactions and complex reporting. Profits in one subsidiary can easily mask losses in another, allowing inefficiencies to persist and making it difficult for regulators or the public to see the real picture. For auditors and executives alike, untangling this web is a daunting task, and the sector's true value remains elusive. Somewhere along the way, the original national mission was lost, buried beneath layers of commercial interests, bureaucratic sprawl, and competing priorities. As Prabowo put it, the system is roulette, a tangled mess, far removed from its noble beginnings, and in urgent need of reform to reclaim its purpose. PT Pertamina, Indonesia's oil and gas giant, is the poster child for BUMN complexity. Once a single entity, it now controls around 200 subsidiaries and sub-subsidiaries, each handling a slice of the business, from exploration to hospitals. This structure creates layers of management and silos, making coordination and accountability a nightmare. State auditors can only access the parent company, leaving most of Pertamina's operations in the dark. This opacity isn't unique. Telecom, banking, and construction BUMNs are similarly convoluted. The result, a national portfolio that's nearly impossible to manage or monitor. Prabowo's use of Pertamina as an example highlights a systemic problem demanding deep reform. The heart of Prabowo's concern is a legal loophole. BUMN subsidiaries, set up as regular companies, escape state audit. The Supreme Audit Agency, BPK, can only audit parent BUMNs, not their Anak-Cucu companies. This creates a critical blind spot. Subsidiaries can hide inefficiency or fraud, while the parent looks healthy on paper. Without full audit rights, oversight is just a facade. Projects can be routed through subsidiaries to dodge stricter rules, making it easy to conceal losses or divert funds. This flaw undermines the very purpose of state audits, to guarantee public money is managed properly and free from corruption. This audit restriction creates a paradox. State assets belong to the people, yet parts are off limits to their own inspectors. In private firms, shareholders can demand audits anywhere. For BUMNs, the shareholders are all Indonesians. The argument that subsidiaries are separate legal entities ignores the fact that their capital is public money. Lack of transparency breeds suspicion, rumors, and damages trust, even for well-run BUMNs. True accountability means opening all books, not hiding behind legal walls. Who benefits from this opacity? Not the people, not the government, only those seeking to avoid scrutiny. Prabowo is right. Public ownership must not obstruct public accountability. To tackle decades of BUMN sprawl, Prabowo's administration launched sweeping reforms. The Ministry of BUMNs was replaced by two new bodies, BP BUMN, the regulator, and BPI Danantara, the professional investment manager. BP BUMN sets policy and guards the state's interests, while Danantara manages assets like a world-class sovereign wealth fund. Danantara's mandate, consolidate, restructure, and professionalize hundreds of state companies for maximum value and efficiency. This marks a shift from bureaucratic control to investment-driven management. Early results are promising, but Prabowo insists much more is needed. The goal: turn BUMNs into powerful engines of national development, not bureaucratic burdens. The new framework rests on two pillars: massive consolidation and world-class talent. Danantara is slashing the number of BUMNs from over 1,000 to about 200, merging, liquidating, and clustering companies for focus and scale. This streamlining makes oversight and accountability possible. The second pillar: opening top BUMN jobs to global talent, breaking from tradition to prioritize merit over nationality. International expertise is seen as key to raising standards and performance. Structural reform alone isn't enough. Human capital is essential. The vision: a lean, agile, and profitable BUMN sector that drives Indonesia's prosperity. For Prabowo, BUMN wealth is the nation's lifeblood. Every rupiah must be protected from waste and corruption. He demands relentless, multi-layered oversight: internal boards, state auditors, law enforcement, even special envoys in each company. As BUMNs gain commercial autonomy, public accountability must be strengthened, not weakened. The law is being revised to let BPK audit all subsidiaries, closing the loophole that started this debate. Transparency must be total. Partial oversight is not enough when public assets are at stake. The challenge: transform BUMNs from a tangled mess into professionally managed powerhouses. Only unwavering transparency and rigorous oversight will ensure these companies serve the people and protect Indonesia's future.